It's time to get into formation. We gotta get ready for the battle. So call on your brothers and sisters. We gotta turn back to the scriptures. Stop making it all about you. Them preachers, they got it confused. Come out of her. Cause Yahuwah is our deliverer. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, cause nobody's perfect. We're called by his name. We're called by his name. Seek him to be worthy. We should be coming together. There's power in unity. It's time to come into the order, cause we are a living prophecy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. Lace up them boots. We gotta move step mode, put on camouflage. We gotta be wise. Open your eyes to the most high in the skies. We must stop arguing, it's irrelevant. We must live in the Torah, it's heaven sent. He will put it in your heart, fulfilling the word of the new covenant. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, cause nobody's perfect. We're called by his name. We're called by his name. Seek him to be worthy. We should be coming together. There's power in unity. It's time to come into the order, cause we are a living prophecy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat.
So if I want
It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat.
Hey, shalom, 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 y'all. It's Michael Israel here, and I am here with my man Mikael ben Yeshurun. I'm going to bring him up here in 1 second. Let me make sure my audio's good. All right, we're good. Shalom, brother Mikael.
Shalom, brother. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Brother Mikael coming all the way from Chicago, man. It's good to have you on the show. And if you could tell us a little bit about your ministry. You have Hebrews in the Hood, and you also have, I forget the name of the other one you were telling me about, but I'll go ahead and hand it over to you to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I like to give all honor and praise to the Most High Elohim, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the name of his son, our high priest, Jesus Christ, our Mashiach. And yeah, brother, man, it's an honor to be able to, be blessed and be invited to your show. Yeah, I have a Walls of Jericho ministry. That's my ministry, the Walls of Jericho. Right now, it's kind of like in reconstruction mode.
Okay.
I do still have a Facebook group called the Walls of Jericho Have Fallen, where we basically just deal with a lot of historical stuff. Like we deal with, of course, the scriptures, but we also deal with a lot of historical and secular sources to prove that we are the children of Israel, and as well as other Israelites that are scattered abroad. Prayerfully, pretty soon, we will have a new facility up and running. It will be on the, it's looking like, God willing, it'll be on the southeast side of Chicago. And, we're going to take it from there. We're trying to get the Walls of Jericho Biblical and Historical Studies. We're trying to get that storefront put up, and also a restaurant, a clean dietary law restaurant. So that's basically where I'm at. Of course, some people know me from my Hebrews in the Hood channel on YouTube. You can go there and subscribe. It's Hebrews with a Z at the end. It's ebonically Hebrews in the Hood. And so, yeah, you type that in and it should pop up once you put Hebrews with a Z on it. And so, yeah, that's basically for the most part, I'm working on right now because I know it's about once the season is over, it'll be getting warm again, and I want to have something set up back in the city of Chicago where I can do when the Most High allow us to do our work, because that's who I desire to deal with. The young brothers and sisters from the streets.
And if you could, to folks who aren't totally familiar with Chicago, you said the South Side of Chicago. Can you tell people about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's where I'm from, the South Side of Chicago. Demographically, is if you don't know anything about Chicago, it's pretty large. The South Side is without a doubt the largest side of Chicago. The Chi is set up south, east, west, and north, of course. And the two predominant areas with our people, as far as quote unquote Black community,
Mm-hmm.
is the South Side and the West Side.
Okay.
Those are the two largest sides. And of course, we also have a large Latino population. Puerto Rican, Mexican, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's where I grew up. I grew up around the area, around 79th Street, between 79th and Halsted and Racine. A lot of people consider it Inglewood because it's so close. It's connected to Inglewood.
Okay.
It's actually Auburn, Gresham. I grew up right literally in the area where Farrakhan is down the street this way, east. And then, you got the guy, Flager, you got the Gentile, that Catholic Gentile, him, named Flager. They call him Father Flager, but I'm not gonna call him that. And so, so where I'm at, it's kind of a kind of a known area, where I grew up at, and that's where I did my dirt, man. And it's rough over there. It's rough. I mean, it's my home. I kind of don't look at it that way. A lot of people kind of view our youth as uncivilized monsters, but until they actually address the issue of where it all stems from,
Right.
I think you do them an injustice to look down on them.
And something I teach on in my ministry, what a lot of these people don't realize is and it bothers me, is the fact that when you really look at it and when you really read the word, the only place where these youth are off at, these people in these rough communities where all this stuff is going on at, is that they're in gangs. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, these brothers is loyal, they dedicated, they passionate, they willing to die for what they believe in. They got all the qualities of great prophets, except boom, they in the gangs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, these clowns that run these big churches and all that, they got everything wrong except the fact that, hey, they teaching the word, or they so-called teaching the word. And yeah, that's something that bothers me is how these people are quick to look down on these brothers when they should really be looking up to them for their dedication, loyalty, fearlessness, all the qualities, that King David had. You know what I'm saying? But Mikael, if you could speak on how you came into the truth in your testimony.
Okay. Yeah, and address something you just said before we get into that. That's a very valid point, brother. I'm like on one accord with you on that spirit. Our people, the scriptures tell us, basically our pastors have become dumb dogs, dumb greedy dogs to be exact.
Yeah.
So one of their things, they're corrupted priests. They're corrupted priests. Some of them is due to ignorance, and some of them are actually at that point where they don't care. They're serving a whole nother master, and unfortunately it's sad because us as a people, we're naturally a spiritual people.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be like the community. The churches should be the community centers and the foundations of our community. Of course, a place of worship first, but all the other things should come through the church also. You know, whether it's social programs or whatever. If you look back when the Levites were set up in the land, man, first of all, they didn't, and see, this the thing, they corrupted. They take something that's good and they corrupt it.
Right.
So, like, people bring up the fact that the Levites didn't have to work because they was doing all the work of the Most High. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, they was doing the work of the Most High. And when you would go, like, whether it was a stranger or a brother who was a sojourner, and he came through and he was down on his luck, he was messed up, they actually had a whole system set up for that to get him on his feet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see the churches do this. They more like parasites.
Yeah, and see, and that was something I was just teaching on, where a sister was asking me, she was saying, hey, I keep giving this place, this amount of money and this, that, and the other, and they make me feel guilty. They hit them with that, shall a man rob God? And all that.
God.
Hit him with that scripture. And I'm like, no. I was like, in Acts, they put all their money together and they distribute it equally as everybody needed. And then, Yahusha, he told the guy, he said, the man who was rich, he said, give everything you have away and come walk with me. So all that folks buying these big cars on the church's back and buying a Learjet, and they flying over you at the bus stop and all that stuff, that ain't book. That ain't book. That's brainwashing. That's witchcraft and manipulation to get your money. I just did a big lesson on that, because that gets me mad, man. You know what I'm saying? That gets me pissed.
I feel you. Matter of fact, I'm looking for something.
Okay.
If I can find this to go with what you said, and then I'll get into the whole how I came into the truth.
Absolutely. And I said earlier, you got as much time as you want. And for those of y'all watching on Facebook and YouTube, if y'all got questions, put them in there. I'll ask, and I'll ask them. So go ahead.
Yeah, I have something I do have to attend, but we're gonna deal with this.
Okay.
We're gonna let it. Like I say, it's 46 degrees today. And you laughed at that, like, man, that sounds like an Arctic blast.
Yeah.
I'm about Chicago, man. We get below zero, like that ain't nothing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? We get this much snow. And I try to tell people from the South and stuff, they think snow looks so pretty. I said, yeah, wait till you come live in it. I give it a couple weeks, you're gonna be trying to get back home.
Yeah.
But and so I have something I'm gonna attend later. But this is what you brought up earlier when you brought up the gangs, right? And this is one of my things. When I bring up the scriptures, which is all our foundations as Israelites, we cannot lose focus of that. Because if that's the case, that puts us right back in all these other organizations and groups that have rose up and tried to help our people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Valley of Dry Bones say, the Lord will let them do a little shake and rattle and all that, then it's going to drop right back down.
Mm-hmm.
But the foundation is not the Most High. It's not the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the Most High is, and it's the same thing with the gangs, quote unquote, the so-called gangs or whatever. If you really look at the origins of most of them, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's the Vice Lords, the Gangster Disciples, the Blackstone, Black Disciples, whatever, even the Latin Kings, or if you go even to the West Coast, the Bloods and the Crips, the origins of them was not to create more chaos and murder. It was actually a structure, like a tribal structure, and it was actually formed, if you look at the times that most of them was formed, between, like the Vice Lords, they like the oldest gang in America that still exists. They started in 1953.
Wow.
I'm saying, yeah, that's old. Like, you can go here and it's third generations of them, granddaddy and all that type of stuff.
Dang.
But when they was formed during the era where Black people were under attack, even physically. You know what I'm saying? So when they formed together, they tried to get into politics and doing breakfast programs, like the Black Panthers and all. They even dealt with the Black Panthers. And so their whole goal was to protect our community. And of course, the powers that be see that type of stuff. They don't like self-sufficiency. you know, so they interjected it. And unfortunately, it is so easy to do that when anything we form if the Most High is not involved.
Right.
In fact, people don't like it. And I was going to hit what the prophet Isaiah said, Isaiah 51:20, it say, thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets in the corners. It say, as a wild bull in a net, they are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. So, you know, it's nothing for you to ride through the hood and the shy and cities like Detroit, Baltimore, you know, and all that, Gary, Indiana. You ride through and you just see brothers standing on the corner and they got this mean mug on them. And especially in the shy, you know, I tell people, man, I don't want you being scared of your people, but, you know, don't get it twisted either. If it's 12 cats standing on their corner, it's probably 4 or 5 guns out there. Just angry. They just angry, but the scripture tells us that's the fury of the Lord in them. They can't explain it.
Wow.
And the thing that I always pay attention to in that verse is say they have fainted. And we know that means to give up. And you know how many times I've heard brothers say, man, I don't care if I live, man. I'm just going to make a baby and, you know, my name going to live on. It's like this thinking. You know, this is our thinking. So on that note, you know, I grew up in the exact same lifestyle. I think it was 1989 or 1990. Me and my brothers and them debate about it. But I was in grammar school. I think I had to be in probably 7th grade then or something like that. And, you know, that's when I officially joined the Conservative Vice Lord organization. I think I had to be about 12 years old or something like that. And, you know, I was in it for real. You know, we were in it. And first time I got shot, I was actually in 8th grade.
Wow.
Shot in grammar school. Yeah. You know, we had, you know, make a long story short, I've told this testimony in plenty of places. But you know, we had a little rumble or whatever with some rivals, with some gangster disciples, and it was in the school. And so after school, when we came out, they was outside and they had some older dudes with them. You know, they had went and got the big boys from high school and stuff beat up, you know, on little old grammar school because we was terrorizing the school. And that's how it was, you know. Certain organizations or gangs would try to, you know, take possession of certain schools. So, yeah, when we came out of school, they was out there like we was gonna have a rumble. Because back then you rumbled more than you shot. Gun would be second. You know, you fight, it'd be a gun around, but you would prefer the fist fight because that's how you proved, you know, how you got down. You know, we thought they was coming to fist fight, and nah, they was shooting. And I got shot in the pelvis, you know, right there, getting out of school, 2:30, broad daylight. You know, that was the first time I got shot. And then, unfortunately, I got shot about 4 more times after that, different occasions. You know, 3 more times actually, because I was shot. Let me see, I've been shot 5 times, but I've been shot 4 different times. And I've been shot with a 38, 9mm, 380, Tech 22, and 357.
Wow.
It was for real, man. You know, it was for real. And so when I look at it today, it's funny now because you would be like, what type of hard-headed person wouldn't get it after the first time? You know?
Only God's people, man. He said we are stubborn, stiff.
I promise you, bro, when I see stiff neck in this, I see my face. I literally see my face. And so I know them us, man, because I know a lot more people like that. Like, instead of that being, and it's occasions that it happened. I had brothers I grew up with, they got into one shooting incident. They probably didn't even get shot. Just one of their homies got shot by him, and that was enough. They was like, you know what? I'm moving to the suburbs. You know, I'm going to school. I'm going to college. You know, and I never downed anybody for that. You know, and so yeah, man, it was rough, man. And the thing is, you know, I didn't have to do it. I had my mother and my father. You know, yeah, I lived in the hood, but I didn't need for anything. We had a nice home, you know, and things like this. I just wanted to be an a-hole because my little homies was butts. You know what I'm saying? And so I always tell people, man, the best thing you can do is provide a strong foundation and family for them. Both parents, I said, but every blue moon, you might get a me, but you shouldn't let that discourage you. Because if you trust in them scriptures, if I would have been and I'm not saying anything about my mother and father, they actually were great parents. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate them. But had I been raised in the thing that I know now, the truth, like the book say, you know, if you raise up a child, if I was raised up in them laws, statutes, and commandments, I would have had too much fear to go out here with guns on me looking to kill my brother because they claim a different organization, or putting packs of drugs on me when I was getting allowance. I just wanted more. You know, if I had the fear of the Lord in me, I would have never done that. So I encourage people, that's what you do. And so basically, to fast forward, man, years later, I got shot again. The last time I got shot was about 20 years ago. I got shot. Some guys followed me home. They followed me and a couple of my boys home. And we were actually riding around on Folly. We were riding around. I'll never forget, it was a rainy day. We was riding around. And let me see, it was probably about 24 years ago. Well, I was riding around and we was looking for some oppositions, as we call, you know, ops. We was looking for some so-called ops to light up, you know, because we was in a war. And it just so happened we couldn't find anybody out. And that was rare because it was broad daylight. And in Chicago, anybody will tell you, these cats not only hang outside, they're bold with it. Like, they literally will sit on the corner in lawn chairs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they don't fear the police or none of that type of stuff. And so it wasn't nobody out this day. Come to find out, it was a truck following us the whole time. And when I pulled up to my house, I got out the passenger seat and I had stuck my handgun under the dashboard of my homeboy's car. He had a box Chevy. And I actually got out the car and ran up to my door and forgot it. And that's like rare. I never would forget one of my pistols. It's like, you know, we had those like beepers, like cell phone. And so they called me back to the car and say, hey, bro, you know how they talk then. Hey, Lord, you know, you left your blah, blah, blah. So I go back down there to get it. And when I reached over into the car to grab it, I could feel something behind me. You know, and they all looking down trying to help me get it out because it had got stuck under the dashboard. You know, that's when we used to ride around with these things called Master Touch. You get a stash built in your car. So if the police pull you over, they couldn't find a gun or whatever. And yeah, man, I just heard somebody say, we got you now. And when I turned around and looked, it was one of those old steel Broncos with the sunroof in it. And the guy was standing at the top of it with a blue bandana over his face like this so I could see was his eyes. And the driver had on the bandana. And man, they lit me up right there. And they lit me up and they rolled off. And all I know was, you know, when I tried to get up and I had kind of like fell under the car, when I tried to get up, you know, my legs wouldn't move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could feel them and they felt like they were bent, but when I looked down, it was laying straight. So I knew something was wrong, you know, and my boy, and I mean, the car got hit like 11 times. I'm the only one that got hit. So, you know, when I look at it now, I know specifically the Most High, man, like, he gave me chance after chance after chance. Something he wanted me to do, but he didn't want to kill me. You know what I'm saying? And so he had to sit me down, literally sit me down, because the other stuff wasn't scaring me. If I got shot, I would just be right back out. I heal up, and now I'd be looking for some more people to go at.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, I next thing I know, I blacked out. And, you know, it's some stuff in between that. If you check out one of my old interviews, you can hear it all in detail. But I really don't want to get into that right now. But when I woke up, I was in the hospital and I was in intensive care. I was in ICU. And they say I had been in there for like 2 weeks. It just seemed like a day.
Wow.
And, you know, of course, I seen my mother and father. So when they finally moved me over to my room, it was a sister that came to visit me. She lived across the street from me. She was like our block club president. So, you know, I ran like my block. You know, me and a couple of the homies, we had like 2 or 3 blocks. And so that was a portion of the set, of the Vice Lord set that we was from, that I ran, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, she would watch me and see me doing stuff, but she had a liking for me. Because I guess even with me and my chaos, she would see that I would protect the block. You know, we made people grab the old people groceries when they came in. We didn't we wasn't allowed on the block and doing all that type of stuff. So we had some type of civility to our madness, you know, and that's why back then you would find out like the neighbors wouldn't even tell on you. You know, like when the police came, they would act like you an angel, and they know you've been out there doing stuff because of how you treated them and their children and stuff like that, right? And so it was a sister who lived across the street, and she was our block club president. And I knew it was something different about her. Because it was certain things she didn't do. Like she didn't eat pork and all that type of stuff. And by me being a vice lord, it was actually against our law to eat pork. So I was cool with her on it, you know, because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, vice lords and Blackstones are they're like a fraction of Moorish Americans, but like the version. So yeah, they got the Allah thing and prayers and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And so it was something always different about it. And she never was judgmental to us. But when I woke up in the hospital after they moved me from intensive care, she was the first face I seen. Her and a brother named Elijah. He's actually the head teacher at a camp now called ICOJ, Israel Church of Jesus. They actually have the first Hebrew Israelite school, like literal school, you know, from kindergarten to 8th grade.
Okay. So we'll have to get him on here.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he will come on. They have it was an old public school that closed down, and it was sitting there, and you know, Israel got their money together and they bought it. So they have real curricula, they got real teachers, you know. The cool thing about it though, and they encourage people, they don't care what camp you from, none of that type of stuff. It's a school for Israelites. And so when like when these times when Christmas come around and Thanksgiving and normally your kids getting out of school and all that, no, they still in school because these days don't exist to them. But you know what days they chill on?
Feast days.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Man. And when I woke up, that's who I seen. I seen the sister Jasmine and the brother Elijah. And she asked me some questions, you know, she was crying. She said, I'm just glad you're still alive. We thought you died. You know, we seen you when they put you in the ambulance. We thought you died. And then she said, well, I got something I've been wanting to ask you. And I said, what? You know, the first thing she asked me, do I think I'm gonna walk again? And I said, I don't know. I want to, you know. She was like, you can. She said, if the Most High wants you to, you will. And then she asked me, she said, do you know who you are? And I'm so silly. I'm like, yeah, I'm a vice lord. She like, no, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? She like, no, I mean, do you know who you are as a people, where you come from? And then I'm like, I gave her like a subpar answer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that's when the brother took over. He started telling me, like, you know, you from the lost tribes of Israel. You know, you God's chosen people. You from a priesthood, and the reason he didn't kill you is probably because you can use your influence to, push the word of God to the same people that you ran with.
Right.
And it just kind of just took off from there, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. And yeah, I mean, and it's you know, it's and you said they're the brother and the sister, they're with the church that you're with now.
No, well, actually, she was with the camp that I was with at the time, and so was he. He was a teacher under my teacher. My teacher is, of course, Brother Bowie from the IOG, Israel of God. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the teachers up under him. But, he wound up forming his own camp, which is now the ICOJ, the one that has the school.
Okay.
In the area. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's how, the way I saw the first time I ran across you. You were doing a video, because I guess the people in IUIC, so there were some people in there, I guess, trying to tease your school and the congregation you're with, and they were trying to say it was churchy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I recognize a real man when he's talking all that stuff like that. You could tell a masculine spirit on somebody. And I was
Right.
like, and you told him in the video, you were like, look, he's like, you could call this whatever you want. You could say whatever you want about the music, but I guarantee these brothers up in here don't play around. You're like,
Right.
y'all won't want seconds of this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
that stuck with me. And then what happened a couple weeks ago, my Yeshurun, he was like, "Hey man, hey Mike, cause I did a message, all right, cause I'm all over the place. But did you know the Sean Tatum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
General. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did we did like a little memorial type episode for a whole week for him. And I didn't really know him, but I got to know him through doing all that. And it made me realize, hey, we got to reach these brothers in the streets. And I know I don't have the skill set to do that, but I was like, I'm going to get behind the people who do. So I did a message on it, basically talking about what I said earlier, that these is the real prophets and the real warriors that you read about in the Bible. That's why they do so much to kill them off. And you see, like, you notice when the cops are out of the hood, everything goes smooth. But when the cops is in the hood, that's when it's a hot mess. And it's like, it's by design to kill the brothers, the Tupac type dudes off.
Right.
It's
right.
because they know it takes one of them can change the whole world. Because they ain't scared of nothing. They ain't going to get corrupted. They 100. And I did a message on that, and John seen it, and he was like, hey, man, we got to reach out to this out. And he's talking about you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So that's, we about what you doing. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk.
Yeah, man, and all praise to the Most High that, that the Most High even put it on your spirit to do that. And, yeah, I remember the little IUIC thing, man. If you notice, I took that video down after like 3 days. Yeah. I think it was 7,000 views. So I didn't care about the views. I figured I got my message across. I'm going to take it down.
Right.
Because people just kept talking about it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so, those bygones, it's over with or whatever with them brothers. But the point I was trying to make in there was, like you brought up, and this goes for anybody. Because you make a statement about how certain camps, they're real churchy and things of that nature. Well, the whole point that I was making was, look, I respect what brothers are doing that's from the other aspect of the Hebrew Israelite community. I like discipline. I like militancy. I like all of those type of things. But if your spirit not right, you see what I'm saying? Like, you might say people are churchy, but half of these dudes was real bona fide gangsters. A bunch of you dudes were square. That's the type of point I was making. And what we was taught, and what we was taught was like, when you leave the streets alone, then leave that part of the world in the world. You don't take that same spirit with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't got nothing to do with being a coward or a chump. Like, because if you like you said, if you're a manly man, you're gonna be a manly man anyway. Right. But you don't have that same spirit on you to the point where I can't tell you from a devil worshiper. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that was just the point I was making. I was just like, don't get it twisted though. A lot of these cats came from that life for real. Like, you
ain't gonna put no fear in their heart.
Right. Yeah. And it shouldn't even be like that. If all our goal is the same, to wake up our people, then you do it the way the Lord gave you the gift to do it, and I do it the way He gave me the gift to do it. And Israel got this camp banging mentality, which I can't stand. You know what I'm saying? I remember when the Mashiach, man, he was out there doing his thing, and the disciples came to him because it was some cats preaching Christ that wasn't with their camp or their crew. Yeah. He had to check them. He said, hey, man, is they speaking bad against us? They like, no. When he was like, well, if they not against us, then they fall. Like, basically, like, leave them alone. You see what I'm saying? And when you bring stuff up like that to cat, it put a lot of these camps in shame. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so Israel got a lot of work to do, man. So that's basically the only reason I even got involved
Yeah.
with that little response right there, because I really don't like doing that. Because at the end of the day, you know, the Most High is gonna weed out the rebels.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, and so we just got to do all the job we supposed to do, brother. And I like the point you said when you said that you know, you might not be equipped to directly go to the cats in the streets like that, but you have people that are. See, that's what our whole thing is. Like, we got brothers that I know that are very professional. We got brothers that's professors at universities. I can't do that the way that they can. They can go into the professional scene. You got people that go into basically Fortune 500 companies, and you know, they'll have to do it a little careful, but they're able to reach another type of demographic.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Nevertheless, they're still doing their job. So everybody don't have to have the same gift.
And
You know,
it's a body. That's right. It's different parts, one body. That's right.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Oh,
go ahead.
there was one more thing
Mm-hmm.
that you touched on, and I could tell you've been doing your homework. When you made a statement about a lot of times if the police were not so much involved in our communities, you would see a reduction in the crime, especially like violent crime against each other. Oh, but I ain't gonna be too careful with this, but I just gotta say it. You're absolutely right to this degree. If I could just use the place that I'm familiar with, you know, I'm writing a book, of course. Everybody like, man, when the book coming out? Well, you know, people hit these, they call like blocks or whatever.
Writer's block, yeah.
Right. When the Lord want me to do it, I'll be done with it. But it's called From Vice Lord to Servant of the Lord. I basically just tell my whole biography, right? And the thing is, man, when they took the chiefs off the street, they took the leaders off, you know, they trumped up all type of RICO charges on cats, you know, starting like in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And through the early 90s, you know, they started taking down these leaders of these particular street organizations, quote unquote gangs. They knew what they were doing. Although it was wars and stuff like that back then, the murder rate always been kind of ridiculous. So although we had that, it would always be times of peace, like where people would actually call peace treaties and wouldn't go to war for a long time, you know, unless something happened. And I believe a lot of times it was stuff that was initiated by law enforcement and make it seem like it was a gang retaliation. Like, it's certain stuff you just know that, you know, they trying to get us to kill each other. You know what I mean? So when they removed those cats that had that type of respect, they knew what was going to happen. They knew what was going to happen. It's literally by design. And another thing I always tell people, I said, if you look at Chicago, for example, like I say, it's other cities, man. See, Chicago just has this history with the gangs, you know, the organized thing. But there's other cities that don't have that same history, yet it's extremely violent. You know, cities like Baltimore, even DC, you know, Philly, rough. You know what I'm saying? St. Louis, little old St. Louis right next to us is terrible. You know what I mean? And when you look at these type of places, the unique thing I think about Chicago is I believe it's some type of test subject. Because if you look at Chicago, the way it's structured, it always produced like a bunch of so-called like black world leaders or black leaders. You know, a lot of them, if you ever think, see, a lot of people don't think of it this way, but I had to really think about this one day. You know, a lot of so-called spiritual leaders come up out of here, but it's like one of the most corrupt places in Western hemisphere, right? And I was really thinking about it, and I was like, a few years ago, I say about 4 years ago, when I first paid attention to it, we had this thing, and y'all can go look it up, type it on YouTube, where there was a disproportionate amount of what they was called expressway shooting or freeway shooting. And this is people driving on the expressway and basically being sniped. And they was blaming it on gang gang retaliation and stuff like that. Sometimes it would be somebody driving 60, 70 miles an hour and somebody pull up next to them on the expressway and shoot the car up. But a lot of times it was somebody, I have, people that been through it, that it would be somebody shooting off the top of the, where the viaduct said, the bridges and stuff. When you ride, you know how it is when you ride on the expressway to go from state to state.
Yeah.
Somebody's up there sniping these people and nobody has ever been caught.
Mm.
And when they compared it, it's not happening in no other city. The closest to it is like Mexico with the cartels, how they do it. And the whole thing is, I'm like, do you know what type of precision and training it takes to hit a car, an object, going 70 to 80 miles an hour and you hitting people point blank and nobody gets caught? I believe it's some black ops military type. Yeah. And they just blaming it on the gang.
And what you gotta wonder, now you got me. What you gotta wonder is why Chicago? What do they know about Chicago? Who's in? What do they think is getting ready to come out of Chicago?
Man,
and hey, look, let me tell you some heavy stuff, because where we're oppressed the most, that's where something, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like. Man, I ain't gonna go that far because we know the prophecies.
Right.
But comparison is like, how they said about the Messiah, like, man, what good come out of Nazareth? Because Nazareth was rough.
Yeah, and we all know Chicago, it's like, man, it's something like you kind of allude to, you were like, man, when the summertime come around, like you see, like, and everybody out, and then that 4th of July weekend be the worst one, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like a slaughter fest out there.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, that 4th of July weekend, I mean, we don't have that same spirit of fear, because you ain't out there doing nothing bad. You don't press it now. You don't push it just because you got the Most High's hedges on you. You don't press it. But I don't really have the same type of fear, but my fear be for my people.
Mm.
Man, I'm scared to turn the news on after some certain holidays. I'm scared to turn the news on.
Wow, man.
How many people I know done got shot? You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man. I know exactly. I don't know what exactly they think or they know is coming up out of here, but I did think back on stuff.
Cause I'm sorry to interrupt you, but something else popped in my mind. There was a dude did a YouTube video talking about he seen him putting boxes of guns up in there.
Bro, I did a video about that literally 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I was very weary about putting it out there. People was like, man, I don't, some of my brothers, man, I don't know if you want to put that out there. I'm like, man, and so I held back. And when I held back, the brother you talking about put his video out there.
Mm.
I'm like, man, the Lord let somebody else put it out there. So now he the first one out there now. So I'm like, I'm going to go on and expound on it. But I'm a firsthand witness to it as far as not me seeing it, but I know it's true. Mm. It's not it's a fact. I had people testify to me that they've gotten the crates.
Mm.
Crates and also the freights. When the train stops on the railroad, that people would be tipped off that they can go and hit the train now, and they knew exactly what cars to go to get the weapons. And it's crazy, man, because back in the day we used to commit crimes like that. When I was in that world, when we were shorties or whatever, we would hit the freights, as they called it, because you could hit the freights. Everything comes through those trains, through the city. And so we would hit them to get probably get some clothes, some shoes, something like that. But every now and then you would luck up on guns. But when you lucked up on them, it was one thing I knew. I don't think they had firing pins in them, and the ammunition was never with the gun. Hmm. But now when they come through, these guns, I'm talking about AR-15s, AK-47s, all type of stuff, from handguns to military weapons, come through, from what I hear, allegedly, you got to say that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they already had ammo. Hmm. The ammo was in the exact same car. So it's literally, they're dropping off weapons for them to do what they do, to kill each other. And I talked to a brother when I had did a funeral. I had did a funeral because somebody had reached out to me on Facebook that I knew. One of their family members was he was a well-known little gangster or whatever in the city, and he got set up and he got killed. And so they said they didn't want a regular preacher to do their service. They wanted me to do it because it's a lot of tension, and they don't know if his own people set him up, and so the funeral gonna have a lot of tension in it. So they asked me to come, and I said, of course, I do it. It was my first funeral, you know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, I wasn't nervous. I've been in that situation so many times. I lost over 24 homies through the homicide, you know, just from my set alone. And so, you know, I went and I basically broke down the scriptures to him. And I told him, look, man, it's going to continue to happen. And I kept it real with him. And it was brothers in there, you could see it in their face, they feel me. And you know, they got it real bad in Chicago with shooting up funeral homes and all that type of stuff. Dang. So it was 50 guns in that funeral home. I didn't care. I got up there and told them, like, you know, I don't know if some of y'all know me, but y'all know I used to be such and such, whatever. And I know what y'all going through. I know how y'all feel right now. I know y'all want to kill everything moving. And I basically told them, man, look, y'all the Israelites, man. And the only way this gonna stop, and the preacher and them looking at me, you know, the preacher that's always, you know, the regular preacher for the funeral home.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to come behind me after that. You know what I'm saying? And cats, man, they got up with me and they told me to come to the repast. They want to talk to me. And a brother sat there and literally told me that he had received, or they had went and picked up crates and boxes full of guns that was just left there, and they get anonymous tips, and he was like, man, how you and I had heard these rumors, and I can tell he was one of those guys, so he had no reason. You could tell, like, you could see how everybody was treating him at the place. He said, man, when I heard what you were saying, brother, he said, I just gotta tell you, man. He was like, how you think all these young guys is out here with these extended clips and, you know, 30 shot clips hanging out of a handgun this long. Then they got drums on them and stuff with 100 shots on it. He was like, man, you know, they dropping them off. And I'm like, this crazy, man. And so I don't know what it is they think gonna come out of here. All I do is think back to certain situations like, you know, people like, you know, Jeff Fort, or they call him Chief Malik, you know, he was on something else, man. You know, you talking about, you know, taking out, you know, airports and stuff like that. Then you had the brother.
What did you say, Chief Malik?
Yeah, that's what they called him, Chief Malik.
Who was that?
That's Jeff Fort, man. He was the chief, the leader of the Black Keystone Rangers, also known as the El Rookins. You know, you can type it up, look at him. He all on Gangland History Channel, but he took it to another level. He was like, look, he went to a council meeting. You pull it up, they got the footage. He went to a council meeting with the police for the community. You know, the police had started acting up, started shooting people in the neighborhoods. He was like, look, if y'all keep it up, it ain't gonna be no bloodshed without no bloodshed. He told them this to their face, sitting at the meeting. And, you know, it was some whole bunch of stuff. They had to hurry up and get him out of there. You know, they said that allegedly they had conversations of him dealing with Muammar Gaddafi. And, you know, they had got a hold of a rocket launcher supposed to blow up an airline. It was all type of stuff. But then you had another cat that y'all could look up named Angelo. Angelo was one of the chiefs of the Four Corner Hustlers, which is a branch of the Vice Lord. And same thing, you know, they had him on camera, you know, fighting 5 police officers. I mean, giving them the business because he knew the martial arts and all that. They tried to jump him in I believe it was a restaurant or a liquor store. He ended up beating him up, boop, bop, bop. And after that happened, he took it a step further and declared war against the police station. And he got a hold to some rocket launchers. Said he was going to blow the police station up. Got a whole army with him. And so they going to do it. And they brought him down because apparently that he got the launcher from a federal informant, you know. So when you look at the history of the cats that come from here, like you said earlier, if you got the right type of leader and people loyal to you, it can cause them some serious trouble.
So let me ask you, So, cause I, one of the oxen here, Ozza, he put Cook County. That's what county is that?
That's actually the second largest or the largest county in the United States, Cook County. That's they call it Crook County.
That's the
Crook,
county Chicago's in?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, because yeah, he
yeah,
said Cook County has the highest concentration of Hebrews in the USA. So there you go. That so
yeah,
that's what it is, man. It's a lot
yeah,
of us there. Because
yeah,
you were just saying that that South Side is huge and it's full of us.
yeah. Yeah, it's huge, man. It's real. It's big, you know. It's like you know, you get a city like New York that's 3 times the size. You know, New York is outrageously big.
Mm-hmm.
You probably 7 million people there, whatever. But with the exception of that, you know, I think Chicago probably got about 4 million people, and hell, about at least 65% of them is Jake's.
Hmm.
You know, and so like I said, you got you know, so yeah, it's a lot of us here. You know, a lot of us
Wow.
here. And so you go, so you know, when you got that many, you're going to produce every now and then. You're going to produce some jewels. You're going to produce some people that might be a problem for you if their mind is in a certain direction. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Be honest, you know what I mean? And then by having that history of the organizational type structures, you know, like, you know, we have a lot of Moorish Americans here. Like I can go on and on. And so it's nothing for somebody to jump into some type of structure, you know, even as uncivilized as it might be. And if you got the wrong people, from their standpoint, the wrong people, it would be a problem.
And like the book said, they've taken crafty counsel,
Craft,
because that's something I teach in my lessons, is that, you know, you got people say, oh, there's division in Hebrew Israelite community, but people don't understand the miracle of, like, you done had, they sit down and have groups who figure out, and like they get the
things like,
smartest people of their nations and sit them
yeah,
down in groups to prevent you from doing what you just did, to prevent you from having these revelations and coming to knowledge that you the people of the book and coming together. Like, folks don't understand what has you know what I'm saying?
yes. And they're actually called, see, people would think this is where, oh, they're getting into conspiracies. Look,
There ain't no
they believe in
conspiracy.
the scriptures. People that say that, I know they don't believe in the scriptures, because the scriptures tell you this. Like, even when you go to one of my favorites, Jeremiah, the 29th chapter. I believe it's like Jeremiah 29, like 1-4, where he literally tells you how to behave when you go to captivity,
Mm.
because he understands that they plotting against you. And he tell you, he say, build houses, get you wives, you know, hook your daughters up with sons and sons with daughters, make babies. This is what the Lord tell you to do in captivity. He said, whenever you go to captivity, I'm paraphrasing, you can read it for yourself. He said, I want you to build houses, you know, get your vineyards, or, you know, try to make you some business or whatever, make babies. And he said, so that the numbers will not diminish, so that you will not diminish, because they're going to be coming up ways to wipe you out.
Right.
You know, whether it's in the water, whether it's in what else, you just keep making babies. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you one thing. One thing you can't do to us is stop us from having babies. They've been trying since Egypt, and it ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
And they
right.
told us, this is the last part I notice a lot of brothers don't pay attention to. He also told us right at the end of that verse, pray for peace in the city wherever you at, and peace you shall have.
Mm.
So even though we got all this chaos going in these metropolitan cities where it's a lot of Hebrews at, if you are that example and you start with your household, right? You can bring peace upon your house, starting with your household. See, this stuff that a lot of our people don't teach. Yeah, we understand the curses in Deuteronomy 28 are you know, they're jumping out the window at you.
Right.
So overall, as a people, we're going to fall under these curses. You feel me?
Right.
But you can be a little light within that. If you go right to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, I believe it is, where he tell you to turn back to him. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody tell you it's over the sea or in the heavens. No, you get these laws, statutes, commandments, you teach them to each other and you live them, and I will turn back to you. So that's your way in this captivity. You know what I'm saying? Under these curses, that's your way of somewhat getting them lifted off of your house. So if you started with your house, bro, now you could do it with a community center. You do it with the block next to you. You just teach it like that. You know, and that's my thing, bro. And that's why I like what y'all doing. We making the scriptures proactive. We making them, you know what I'm saying? We making them tangible. You know what I'm saying? We making them practical, where they not just a religious dogma that we repeat over and over. It's actually a way of life. And the Most High told us if we return to it, you will see results.
Right. That's good, man. Yeah, that's perfect. And that's the insidious thing of Christianity and that whole Catholic model of church, where it's just a bunch of feelings and emotions, and like you said, no practical application of it. Yeah, that's on point. That's true. Yeah, that's good. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring out?
Not quite, not really. Like I said, it's just been a privilege for having me on here. Oh, and to let everybody know, this will not be my last time.
Yeah.
And my starting to build. And so, and it's a lot of us that's going to start to build and, you know, repair some of these breaches that we have in the community as far as Israelites, because I understand that we not the Messiah. You know, we can't get all Israel together and everybody on one accord. There's certain prophecies that have to take place. When you have those that are willing to do so, then I would say you're doing more of a hindrance to not take that opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's definitely where I'm at, because I'm gonna tell you, you know, you come from a city like Chicago and New York, where Hebrew Israelites have always been vocal. You know, they've always been there, you know what I'm saying, for a long time. You know, it's not as foreign to hear somebody say they're Hebrew or Shalom or Israel or something like that. But the level where it's at now, after 23 years of knowing I was Israelite, I've never seen it like that. It's Israelites everywhere. Like, it ain't even foreign no more. You know, if you go in a room, you go on a train or something with 20 people on there, you see cats with big long beards, just yell out Shalom. You're going to get at least 2 or 3 of them back. And so you got to think, to the other nations, they terrified.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, all of them are not ignorant of who we are.
Nope.
You got powers that be who know exactly who we are. And they kind of like, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? It's getting to that point where we can't keep the lid on it no more.
And I've said this before, I would even move to say it. I think, without a doubt, top level government people know exactly the prophecy to a T. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They have to. They have to. When you look at all the scriptures like Deuteronomy 32 and 26, where he said he would scatter us to the 4 corners and cause the memory of us to cease, you see, from among men. So it's said that in general, people wouldn't know who you are and you wouldn't know who you are. But then you go right back to other scriptures like in Isaiah, where he said we would start to sprout up like fountains. I'm paraphrasing it. Then he says one would surname himself after Jacob and, you know, Israel and all that. So now we getting the memory back, and we grabbing back our names. We giving the Gentiles their names back, and we taking back the Most High's names as his true servants. And it's vain to try to fight against prophecy.
Yeah,
it is. And so, you know, it's people like you said, you brought up earlier, what's that, Psalms 82 or Psalms 83, the crafty counsel.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be people at the top positions who know who we are. In the religious institutions, they know who we are. You best believe the Vatican know who we are.
Yeah.
You best believe them synagogues of Satan over there. All our identity, they know who we are. Top people in Islam, they know who we are. I hear Arabs, you know, Ishmael he don't have that much of a problem saying it. If he see, you know, he'll say it. Like, he kind of like, yeah, you know, yeah, y'all them or whatever, but you know, so what? You know what I'm saying? And it's so it is a fact that the people in the top of the religious organizations the top of the economical institutions,
Mm-hmm.
the top of the politics, they have to know who we are.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's without a doubt. And so they watching us like a hawk.
Yeah.
You know, I used to hear crazy stuff. I don't know. It really shows me it's a spirit just put on them. Because if you notice, it's like, why would you still allow certain things to happen to us or do us a certain type of way? And I've heard people say things like, you know, some of them think that they can slow down prophecy.
Mm.
You know, and that's scary in itself, because that means they definitely know.
Yeah.
I used to hear the rumors, and we don't know how true this is, but I used to hear the rumors that the White House has Bible study every Wednesday or Thursday, or every second Wednesday or Thursday. And they were saying that they basically don't study number prophecy.
Wow.
And so if that's the case, you know, they looking at us.
Yeah.
They looking at us. They see what stuff going. They looking at us and all the affairs they got involved in around the world. You know, Israel ain't just in America, man. I keep my eye to everything. It say watch and pray. I'm looking at what brothers is going through in Africa, the Israelites. I know which ones Israelites and which ones ain't. You got cats over in Thailand, man. You got Jakes in Thailand.
Mm.
I'm saying, you got us all in the South Pacific. You got cats in Europe. You got Jakes that's over in cold, white Russia.
Mm.
You got communities of Jakes, and they get treated like dirt and act like they don't know how they got there. They've been there forever. They still look like us, though. They ain't got lighter or nothing, and they treat them like dirt. And I say, Book said he was gonna scatter us to the four corners.
Right.
I mean, he lied, you know. And so, man, bro, it's just, I hope, and I love the title with this, what is it, spiritual combat?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we at now. That's where we at. We can't win this fight carnally.
Right.
And, you know, my brothers out there, they got a little aggression, and I know of y'all pain, you know what I'm saying? But this, you can't, look, we can't do that. So all you gonna do is really bring it down on us worse.
Yeah.
That's the Mashiach job. You see, all you can do is spiritually be a warrior. And we got to, because there's spirits involved, man. It ain't no spooky stuff. It's a science to it. You know what I'm saying? We got to kick some spiritual butt, man.
Yeah.
Like, we got to elevate past the carnality, man, because that carnal is what got us here.
Yeah.
So that's really all I got to say, man. And if there's anything else you want to ask me, I'm going to try to go get me some of this sun while it's feeling kind of good.
Okay. Real fast though, tell them your YouTube. I'm gonna pull it up while you said. Just tell them about your YouTube again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my YouTube channel is Hebrews in the Hood. Hebrews spelled with a Z at the end instead of an S. Hebrews in the Hood. And I also have a YouTube channel called Mikael Yisrael. Yisrael is spelled Yzrael, I believe it is. And I'm about to form my Walls of Jericho YouTube channel. We'll be dealing strictly with history and scriptures. Strictly with history and scriptures, like, you know, because I know I got kind of a sarcastic, humorous personality. You don't know what I'm gonna say on one show to the next, but on this one, we are literally just gonna be dealing with educating the people. And so that's that. On Facebook, you can find me at Mikhael Ben Yeshurun, like Yeshurun with a Y, Yisrael. And I have a Facebook group called Walls of Jericho Have Fallen. You can enter into that group. Like I say, in that group, we don't do no name banging and all that type of stuff. You know, we strictly in our own information. You know, I ain't got no time to be arguing with nobody over no Y, no Y, no J. And look, I know who you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let me see your fruits, because like I've seen cats burn decades arguing over names.
Yeah, and not get nowhere when y'all could have been building economically, family wise, all types of other ways. Yep.
Nothing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if, you know, you say Yeshua, Yahawashai, Yehoshua, Jesus. It does not bother me whatsoever. I want to see your fruits, man.
Right.
I want to see your fruits. And so, yeah, those are ways you can look me up so far. And like I said, we also have it's also a sister channel called Sister for Sister. For the sisters, if they want to check it out, it's spelled Sister, SISTAH, the number 4, and Sisters. Sister for Sisters. Y'all can check that out on YouTube. Well, they deal with the Hebrew point of view
Okay.
for you lionesses out there.
Right.
And so, yeah, with that, man, like I say, this won't be the last time, my brother. I would pray that you would allow me to be a frequent guest. What we can do.
Anytime you want to come on, man.
Yeah, because we need to do updates. We need to keep the people informed of what's going on. Because I know y'all got a lot that y'all doing. Y'all moving around, and we need to just keep each other updated on what's going in throughout our communities.
Right.
In this exile out here.
Right. Well, Mikael, it's a pleasure having you on. Those of y'all watching, I appreciate all y'all who have tuned in to enjoy this. It was an amazing conversation, man. A lot of inside stuff about really what's really going on in the inner city. I'm going to definitely support Brother Mikhael. And I appreciate y'all tuning in to the show today. I'm Michael Israel. You watching Spiritual Combat. And shalom, y'all.
Shalom, shalom.